The desert is ruthless, but nothing is more savage than my dance moves. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Rafael and I am here to review episode 9 of The Real Housewives with Questionable Dance Moves of Dubai. We start the episode off with Sarah at this restaurant waiting for Ayan. Ayan, she finally shows up and what is she wearing? Another extravagant outfit. Another one in my DJ Khaled voice. She shows up wearing this long white dress with this huge puffy tulle material, this long jacket with this long train behind her. I mean, it was so long, it probably needed its own table at this restaurant and she's walking in and it's taking up like half the screen time. I'm like, is that Ayan? I can't see with this big ass train in the way. So she shows up. Sarah's just like, oh, seriously, Ayan, seriously, oh, so extra. And Ayan, she's walking in, and what's the first thing that we hear her say this episode? She's like, well, it's not my fault that I look good. I'm always gonna look good. I'm always gonna look better than everybody, and that's just not my fault. That's God's fault. And you know, a lot of people would say that Ayan is just annoying or self-centered, but I'm here for it. I mean, why not? She should uplift herself. Everybody should. Why not? You know, and I genuinely believe that this is really who she is. I don't think that she's acting for the cameras like, oh, let me pretend like I have all this self-confidence. No, I really do think that Ayan does think that she's the best thing on earth. And the more I notice these outfits that she wears every single episode from episode 1, I agree with the comment that was left in my last review, how they think that maybe Ayan is getting paid to wear all these extravagant big outfits for exposure. I mean, that could be it, or she could just genuinely just wear outfits like this on a daily basis for no reason. Because I have yet to see her like in any type of like sweatpants or, you know, just any regular shirt or anything. Like, no, she always shows up as if she's about to walk a runway. So, I mean, either way, she's winning because if she does get it paid, then okay, at least she's getting money. But if she doesn't, at least she shows up to every single scene wearing something good. So, I mean, she looks good either way. So she sits down with Sarah. She's like, so Sarah, what happened with you and Brooks? Because I saw that you and her were about to get into it at Strawberry's event. And it looked like she was about to whoop your ass. But it looks like you were about to whoop her ass as well because the producer got into it. So what happened with that? So Sarah's just like, well, you know, with Brooks, I just feel like she has a really bad vibe and she has bad energy and stuff. And I just I want to heal her. You know, I want to heal her because me as a person, I know what it feels like to be in her position. And I just want to heal her. And I want to, you know, just calm her down and everything. And Ayana's just listening to her and she's like, And what does Ayan say? Well, you're better than me because I'm petty. I'm like, Ayan, this is not the time. But she's like, yeah, I'm petty because, you know, I know that you're trying to fix your situation with Brooks, but me, no, I'm going to be petty, at least for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, Ayan, you're better than me because I could be petty for 12 minutes. And that's on a good day. On a bad day, I could push it for an hour. So she's like, yeah, Brooks, she reminds me of Judas. You know, she's just evil and she's just terrible. And I just don't really see it for her. And I'm like, but she was just at your fashion event last episode. I just don't understand the relationship that she has with Brooks because both of them, they say such awful things behind each other's back. And then in person, they're like, oh, you're like a sister to me. I love you. So it's just like, it's not making sense. It's extremely toxic. And she says that, you know, they're like frenemies, but I'm like, I don't think it's like frenemies. I don't think that this is kind of like how Giselle and Karen is, you know, from Potomac. I don't think that this that type of level of friendship. I think that this is a little bit more toxic. So then Ayan, she's like, so Sarah, I want to get to know who you really are as a person. So let me know who you really are as a person. Sarah, she goes on to explain that, you know, back in her childhood, she saw her aunt go through this messy divorce that became very aggressive. And she saw that all her family members and her husband and all her friends turned on her aunt. And she always vowed to never be in that same position. And honestly, I agree. I've always had that mentality as well, that I will never, ever, ever be tied down to anybody like that where, you know, we could be married, we could be together, but at the end of the day, you know, bitches love saying at the end of the day, I am bitches. At the end of the day, you are your own person. You can only count on yourself. Like, yeah, you could be married and stuff, but then this is just my belief. I just always feel like I'm still my person regardless of whoever I'm with or whoever I'm around. Because again, you just never know. You know, you don't ever want to give your so much power to somebody or so much of yourself to somebody to the point where it's just like you kind of lose yourself in a marriage or in a relationship. You always have to feel, at least I always feel like I always have to have some type of independency when it comes to any type of relationship. So that's what Sarah was talking about. But then Sarah, she kind of lost me because she kept talking and talking and talking. I'm like, Sarah, okay, I get it. But it was Lisa who said that, you know, Sarah kind of reminds them like an Instagram post. I can't unhear it now because I'm just waiting. As Sarah is talking and stuff, I do love hearing her talk. But as she's talking, all I'm waiting for her to say is just like, oh, you know, you have to live, love, and laugh. And, you know, don't smile because it's over. Smile because it happened. Like, I just be waiting for something like that to pop out of her mouth. Again, I do enjoy her commentary, but I think that if she was to be around me on a daily basis, I'll have to tell her to shut the hell up a couple of times, because I'm like, okay, lady, we get it. Like, you stop being preachy. And speaking of that, Ayan goes on to tell Sarah, I just feel like with you give us advice and stuff, but it shouldn't be like, oh, you're trying to talk down to us or trying to sound preachy to us. Sarah, I feel like she kind of understood it, but she didn't, because she was like, preachy? How am I being preachy? I mean, honestly, Ayan, you could learn a thing or two about me. I'm like, what did we just say? To not try to downplay somebody like that, Sarah. But, Sarah, I mean, I think she gets it, but I think she doesn't get it at the same time. But like Ayan said, I don't think it's coming from a malicious point of view. Like, I don't think that she's purposely trying to, downplay people or trying to talk down to you or whatever. She's just trying to, better people's lives because she knows what it is to go through it. But at the same time, Sarah, sometimes you have to just let people go through it, even if it's rough and even if it's not even if it is an unfortunate situation, you have to let them go through it so they can learn the lesson their own way. Sarah's just like, waitress, can you take a picture of me and Ayan? And the waitress was probably like, oh my God, these Real Housewives of Dubai bitches better be tipping tonight. So they start taking pictures. Sarah, she's on the floor with the giant tool that Ayan walked in. She's wrapping it around herself and taking pictures. Ayan, she takes a shot at Strawberry. And again, this is why I don't understand the friendships. Because again, I thought that they were cool, but she's like, oh yeah, let's send this to Trashberry. And I don't know why I didn't think about that, like that nickname for Strawberry. I mean, I've been calling, what's her name? Caroline Stanberry. I've been calling her Strawberry the entire season, and I never thought to call her Trashberry. I mean, she hasn't reached the level of trash yet. Then we see Brooks heading over to have lunch with this man, and I'm like, who's this? Come to find out that this is her ex-husband, and I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. So we are gonna see him on the show. They sit down, and it didn't even take me like maybe 30, 15 seconds to realize that neither one of them have chemistry with each other. And I get it that they're divorced now and things may be a little bit awkward, but there was a lot of tension in this scene for no reason. I mean, he felt uncomfortable. Brooks, she felt like she was probably like pulling teeth, trying to, get something out of him in a conversation. And the fact that Strawberry and Sergio have more chemistry or connection with each other than both of them, that says a lot. I feel like, me personally, I feel like Brooks married Zoran. That's his name, right? Zoran. I feel like she married him because of money. The same reason why Ashley Darby married Michael. She saw opportunity to get away from her toxic environment with her mom and her dad possibly. And she was like, well, you know what? I met this man and he has money, so why not? I have nothing to lose. And she saw it and she went for it, and boom. But it also came at a price, because she also goes on to say that she was miserable after these couple of 7 years that they were together. She kind of lost herself in a sense. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's the price you pay when you go into something looking at it, from a financial status, not, actual emotions or love. And again, that's just me assuming that she went after him for money, because I just don't see them really being together for love or for emotion. The fact that they were together for 7 years, that's too long in my opinion as well. And Brooks, you showed up to this restaurant dressed completely wrong, because if it was me and I'm showing up to a luncheon to meet up with my ex or my ex-husband, oh, I'm gonna get the nastiest outfit in my closet. I'm gonna get some really, really short shorts where my ass is hanging out. No panties whatsoever. I'm gonna get the tallest stilettos and a crop top with no bra on. And show up with my little purse, attached to my arm, like, hey, Zoran, how are you? Oh, you like my outfit? Oh, this is just something casual. Yeah, but I'm glad that you admire it still. Yeah, it could have been nice, right? Yeah, but you didn't appreciate it for all those 7 years, right? Sucker. You could have got a shopping spree or something in Dubai out of him while he was there, but she sits down with him. And I just didn't like the conversation, how she started talking to Zoran about her plans, about her spa. And I feel like he had control of that. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought she had a control of her whole entire business, but I feel like he kind of has a play into it too. I get it that he has money, but because she sits down and she's like, so Zoran, with my businesses, I'm trying to open up a spa, but I feel like I'm going to get into a couple of issues with the location that I'm trying to put it at. Zoran, he acts like he's the king of Dubai, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it. All you have to do is just draw it out, and we'll come to some conclusion, but don't worry about it. And Brooks is just like, oh, okay, fine, thank you so much. And I'm like, I thought she was self-made, but I get it that he has money, and she might as well use him for what it is. But it's just like we were just talking about a second ago with Sarah, how you could be, you have to be your own dependent person, but the fact that he has to play into it, and I'm like, I don't know, especially after all the damage that he caused you emotionally and internally, you still want him to take a play in your businesses. And then on top of that, she goes on to say that she also uses her other ex-boyfriends. as something to, level up her business as well. And I'm like, well, I can look at it from one way and say, well, Brooks, you should be your own person. You should be dependent and you should, open up your spas your own way without having your ex-boyfriend, let alone your ex-husband who caused you so much emotional pain in any type of involvement. I could look at it that way, but at the same time, I could also look at it from a different perspective and say, well, I mean, if you caused me emotional damage for 7 years, I'm also going to cause your bank account emotional damage as well for 7 more years. So then she goes on to tell him that their son, Adam, he's been going through it a lot. He hasn't really been wanting to talk to Brooks because he's dealing with the bullying at school and stuff, and he doesn't really have anybody to talk to. And I'm like, so all of this, and you're saying all of this to your husband, yet both of you, and you were just saying it a second ago, like 3 episodes ago, that you wanted to send him away to boarding school. Where's the common sense? If you see that he's going through a lot, what makes you think that, sending him off somewhere where he doesn't know anybody, where he doesn't have you to at least rely on, is going to be any better, Brooks? She talks about how he had anger issues their entire relationship and how he took it out on her. But at the same time, I'm curious to know if Brooks just sat back and took it and was submissive of Zoran. Why? Because she probably saw, oh, he's my piggy bank. If I talk back to him or if I try to defend myself, he's not going to give me any money. He's probably just going to cut me off. And that's that, because we've seen Brooks go toe-to-toe with Sarah and Ayan the second that she doesn't like something that, she hears. So I wonder, how that was between her and Zoran for all these years. Because even now at this luncheon, I'm like, she seems so submissive of him. She seems so quiet and calm and like, okay, like, how are you? What's been going on? Like, what's happening? Like, I'm not sure what that's about, but she goes on to tell Zoran, so Zoran, I mean, you seem so relaxed now. What happened? What's going on? You seem like a whole different person. Zoran is just like, yeah, I needed to change. And, obviously this just goes to show that you'll change for the right person or the right circumstances, because obviously I'm assuming from their relationship, it was just so toxic. And he probably is the type to blame all his anger issues on Brooks. Like, you made me angry. You made me this way. You made me this way. And now that I cut you off and now that we're divorced, I'm a much better person because we're not together. I'm assuming that he's like that. We see Nina and Sarah meeting up at this public market to go shopping for gold. They're waiting on Ayan, and Ayan, when she finally arrives, what is she doing? She is spinning around in circles and yet again, another extravagant outfit. This outfit specifically is a long, puffy, tulle purple dress with a long train behind her. Her hair is kind of like purple grayish with a like sparkly cap on it. She looks good. Nina, she's like, come on, Ayan, we're shopping for gold. I'm trying to bargain here. But they're not going to believe that we don't have money because look how you look. You look expensive. And, every single episode from episode 1, when we were introduced to Ayan, I always just imagine like what could have been with Ayan if she was casted earlier in the seasons of the Housewives franchise. Like, I get it that she's on the Housewives of Dubai now, but can you imagine if she was on Beverly Hills, Potomac, or even Atlanta? Like, imagine Ayan, she would chew Lisa Rinna up every single chance that she could. Every single episode, she'll probably be going at it with Lisa Rinna, and Lisa Rinna probably couldn't handle Ayan, let alone Erica. Or can you imagine Ayan versus Marlo? I mean, Marlo, that's a whole different situation. But can you imagine Ayan on Potomac even? Like, the things that she would say about Giselle's fashion? Like, what could have been? I always imagine that. But, I'm grateful that we're able to be introduced to Ayan now. It's better late than never. So they go into this store, right, to go shopping for gold. And this whole scene, I really enjoyed it. Specifically for Nina. I got to see a whole different side of Nina that we really haven't really gotten to see, like, this whole entire season. Because Nina, she's all about money or buying stuff or just taking herself a little bit too seriously. But I feel like in this specific episode right here, she didn't take herself seriously. She was actually kind of like let loose and she was funny. And I'm like, you know what? I could actually see you being on the show long term now, because at first I wasn't sure about her. And I'm like, I don't know, Nina. I'm not sure if I could see you for a season 2. She's shopping around. She's telling the employee, oh, so wait, can you like just cheapen up the gold necklaces or whatever that I'm trying to buy? Because look how thin it is. It's as thin as my hair. I liked her little moments. Ayan, she's all over the floor for some reason, rolling around in that nice dress of hers. And I'm like, Ayan, what are you doing? Like, absolutely not. No. Ayan, come over here. You are not going to be rolling around in couture. Like, what are you doing? Like, absolutely not. Sarah goes on to explain that buying gold in Dubai is completely different than buying gold anywhere else in the world. And I can definitely see that, because as I was looking at some of the pieces in the store, I'm like, wait a minute, is that a gold crown? I need to put that on layaway. And then we also saw these long gold thick necklaces down to the ground, these long gold armor pieces, like all these pieces that I would never see in a typical gold store here in the USA. So it was a nice little fun fact. Then we see Sergio and Caroline Strawberry back over at their house, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to wear to Lisa's Dancehall event that she invited the entire cast to. Strawberry, she's back to bitching and complaining again. And I'm like, you were just happy an episode ago, and now you're back to being miserable. Like, what is going on here, Strawberry? She's just like, I hate this. I don't want to go to this event. I don't even know how how to dance. Like, what am I gonna wear? I just hate everything. Why am I on this show? Ugh. And I'm like, Strawberry, can you just go with the flow for once? I mean, you don't want to go to any event. You don't want to go to nothing. You don't know. You don't want to go to ski. Earlier in the season. Now you don't want to go to this. Like, what do you want to do besides just lay in bed? Like, again, I would never understand what she thought she was signing up for when she came onto this show. Sergio, he's excited about it. He's struggling to twerk, but he's still having fun with it. I'm like, what is he doing? But you know what? Sergio, do me a favor, bend over a little bit more. I'm trying to see something. But, he's trying to show her how to dance. He's like, look, this is how you do it. He looked like that Bob's Burger character. The one with the blue dress, with the blue skirt, I don't watch the show, but she has a little black bob cut, and she's doing this. That's what Sergio reminded me when he was trying to twerk. She was also trying to, dance with him and stuff. And then on top of that, he was also trying to look for an outfit. And I'm like, okay, you're a little bit too more excited than Caroline Strawberry. He's like, oh, what do you think about this? Do you like this? Am I serving it? Am I serving it? Am I serving it? Yeah. Is this 10, 10, 10s across the board? What do you think? You think my face is good? You think so? Yeah. And then on top of that, the second that he put that wig, that pink wig on that Caroline Strawberry is going to wear to the event later on, he became somebody else. He was in his own fantasy because he put the wig on and he's like, yeah, am I serving fish? Yeah, take a picture quickly. Yeah, take a picture. Yeah, I look so good, right? I look so good, right? Yeah, I look so good. Mwah. I'm like, okay, Sergio. And then on top of that, Jasmine, Strawberry's daughter, she had to ruin the fun. I'm like, okay, so this is just obviously, this runs in the family because she's like, no, this is how you put it on, Sergio. This is how you put it on, you idiot. And I'm like, now, wait a minute. Hold on now, Gia Judice 2.0. Like, relax with those words, okay? I know I'm married to your mom, but don't act like I can't ground you. But it was cute to see them get it, or at least it was cute to see Sergio getting ready and being more excited than Strawberry. We head back over to Nina, Sarah, and Ayan, and they're heading to the restaurant to finally meet up with Brooks as well, right? They're going into the restaurant, and I love the little digs that Nina and Sarah were throwing at Ayan in her dress. Nina was just like, oh, this place isn't big enough for your dress. Sarah was just like, it's going to take you like 2 minutes to go inside the restaurant because of your dress. I thought that was cute. So they sit down. Brooks, she finally arrives. And Brooks, she's already, defensive. She's going into it like, hey, everybody. She hugs everybody. She kisses Sarah on the cheek and everything. And I'm like, fake. But okay. So they sit down and everything. They order food. And the food didn't even get there before they started, fighting and getting into it. Brooks, she starts off and she's like, well, you know what? I need to talk about the cat in the room. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think the slogan is like that. I'm pretty sure, isn't it? I need to talk about the elephant in the room. Even Ayan was just like, what cat? Brooks was just like, be quiet, I'm trying to have a moment. So Brooks, she addresses Sarah. She's like, Sarah, I want to talk about the issue, between me and you, and I just want to kind of put everything to rest. And she did exactly what I said that I wanted both of them to do last week in my last review. I'm like, okay, maybe if they just talk about, how you made me feel, you may not have necessarily said this, but this is how you made me feel. I thought that that's the direction that Brooks was going in, and that's the direction she was going in, but then all of a sudden she made a quick left turn and went from 0 to 100 for no reason. She was trying to explain to Sarah, you made me feel like this because you told me that I need to be more affectionate with my child. And I said this before in my previous review. That's what I thought that Sarah said. But those flashbacks were kicking my ass, me and Brooke's ass, because they kept saying, no, this is not what she said. She said that, oh, maybe you should go upstairs and tuck him in, babe. She was trying to be nice about it, but I don't know why in my head I processed it as like you were trying to tell Brooks, like, you need to be more affectionate. I'm not sure. It's probably like the Mandela effect, because I could have swore that that's what Sarah said. So Sarah, she was trying to explain to Brooke nicely and politely. She was like, no, that's not what I said, babe. I did not say that. I said this is what you should do. Maybe you should just talk to him a little bit more. Brooks, she was not having it. She's like, let me talk. And I'm like, Brooks, you see, you were going in the right direction, but again, you just want to hear it from your perspective. You just want to hear yourself talk. You're not trying to hear what Sarah has to say. Sarah, she was trying to say, look, that's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to tell you X, Y, and Z. Brooks, she went from 0 to 100 all of a sudden. She was like, you know what, Sarah? No, I don't need you. I don't need any advice from you because you always want to be a doctor. You always want to be somebody's therapist, and I don't need that from you. And I'm like, Brooks, where did this come from? Again, she was just trying to have a peaceful conversation with you, and you came out of left field trying to come after her career or whatever, and try to like say, "Oh, it's not knowledgeable. You're not really a doctor. Like, who are you to tell me anything?" Next thing you know, she threw Ayan underneath the bus. She was like, "Even Ayan said that you talk too much and that you should mind your business." Ayan was caught off guard. Ayan was just like, wait a minute. Yeah, I did tell you that, but wait a minute. At that moment, I would have excused myself. I would have been like, you know what? I see where this is going. You're trying to drag me into this. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to take off this couture dress and I'm going to put on some sweatpants and some sneakers because I see we're getting rowdy here. So then Ayana's just like, no, that's not what I said. I did say that you don't mind your business and you do come off preachy, but we talked about that. And yeah, they discussed that already and they squashed it. So it was what it was. Brooks, she was just like, yeah, but you also said that, she's a bad person. She's all this and she's always judgmental. Ayana's just like, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. She was fighting for her life. She was like, no, don't drag me into this. Sarah, again, she was trying to make her points and she was trying to be peaceful about it, right? Brooks, she was just like, you know what, Sarah? You know what? Whatever. It's a bunch of bullshit anyway, whatever you're saying. So then Sarah was just like, oh, you know what? I'm not dealing with this right now. Like, this is a bunch of bullshit. Next thing you know, Brooks was just like, you know what, Sarah? Shut the fuck up. And I'm like, ooh. Now, wait a minute, Brooks. Wait a minute. Not in this restaurant. Wait a minute. Let's go outside first. So then Sarah, she gets up and she's like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. You're doing way too much. And again, Brooks, who are you to tell anybody to shut the fuck up? Like, she is so bold. And then Sarah, she's also bold as well. Again, I said it before when they first got into it, their first round, neither one of them are going to back down to each other. So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens here. Sarah's just like, you know what? No, I'm leaving. Like, this is unnecessary. Like, I'm not putting up with Brooks and her behavior like this. Like, look at you. You're acting like a fool. Nina, she's trying to jump in and she's like, wait, no, everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. I could buy you a condo if you want. Sarah, do you want 2 condos? Relax. Brooks, do you want 3 condos? I could buy you your spa if you want. Relax. My husband has money. So then Brooks, she keeps telling Sarah to shut the fuck up or whatever. And she's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And that's Brooks' other issue too. Always trying to ask somebody or provoke somebody. Like, what are you going to do about it? So if Sarah was to get in your face or even touch you, are you going to be crying and complaining about it? Like, even though I don't see Brooks being the punk, I don't see Brooks or Sarah being punked to each other. Sarah was just like, oh, you know what? Talk to me like that again and I'm going to handle you differently. And I'm like, whoop. Now, wait a minute, Sarah. I was just watching this like, I was ready to fight through the TV. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know. I'm watching this, but I feel like one of them is just going to swing at me. Through the screen. That's how intense it was. Brooks was just like, well, what are you going to do, Sarah? I think Brooks, she gets up and Sarah was just like, if you talk to me like that again, I'm going to handle you differently. I'm like, believe that, honey. And I'm like, ooh. Yikes. If I was Sarah, I would have pressed Brooks. I would have been like, you know what? Move this table out the way. I would have got face to face with her. And I'm like, yeah, we might both go to jail if we, come to blows. But I want to see you do something since you have this mouth. Brooks, obviously, she keeps running her mouth. Sarah, she's like, no, I'm not doing this. Nina's trying to beg her to stay. Sarah's just like, no, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not doing this with Brooks again. So Sarah, she ends up leaving. Nina, she runs after her. Sarah, she's going at it with Brooks as she's trying to exit the store. She's like, they're done. They are done. You are jealous, boo. So she runs away. Nina, all of a sudden, we see her running out the store as well, out the restaurant. She's like, wait a minute. Hold on, Kim. Is that Lindsay Lohan's daddy? Wait a minute. Hold on, Sarah. Come back. I'm like, Nina, just stay your ass in the restaurant. Like, Sarah's down the block. She's down the block around the corner in her car already paying the parking meter. And you're still trying to chase after her. Like, what are you doing? Brooks, she's going at it with Ayan in the restaurant. Ayan is telling her, I just feel like you came here to start drama. You didn't want to solve anything. You just came here to fight. And yeah, Brooks just came here to fight. At first, again, she was going in the right direction, but then she just completely went off the rails. Again, just like how she did at the dinner. And Brooks, obviously, she has a very short fuse. She has a very short temper. She just cannot hear anything from anybody else's perspective because, boom, she'll just go from 0 to 1,000,000. So then Ayan, she kept going back and forth with her. Nina was just like, you know what? I'm stressed right now, so I'm going to go buy a house. I'm going to go buy 2 houses and probably like 3 more condos, so I'm leaving. Nina's just like, okay, bye. So Nina leaves. Brooks is just like, you know what? I'm going to leave as well. I'm not doing this. Ayana's trying to beg her like, no, stay here. Don't go. Brooks is just like, no, maybe we could have dinner at a different time. So then Brooks, she leaves. And Ayana's left there by herself. And I'm like, all of this happened before the food even came to the table. Ayana's just sitting there like, you know what? It's fine. Just bring me my food. And then the waitress, she's just like, Am I ready? Like, just a whole mess. This whole scene was a hot ass mess. Ayan, she went on to eat her food and then she went to go use the bathroom and she's like, you know what? Fuck that bitch. She was like, I'm going to the bathroom. And then we see her kind of squeezing herself in through like this little entrance to the bathroom with her big ass dress. The entire cast reunites in this dance studio to practice a couple of dance moves before Lisa's event, if that's what you want to call it, dance moves, right? So Lisa and Nina, they show up first. Nina's trying to fill her in on everything that happened between Brooks and Sarah. Lisa's shocked about it. She's like, wait a minute, that is not going to happen in this studio. I paid a lot of money for the studio, and if they fuck anything up in here, it's coming out of their paychecks. And Nina's just like, it's fine, it's okay. Do you want a condo? Lisa's like, no, it's fine. So everybody else, they all start coming in one by one. They're all there. I believe Brooks, she was the last one to show up, and she didn't really say hi to Sarah at all. She avoided her. Sarah, she was better than me, because if I was Sarah, I would have been like, Brooks, I'm over here. No, let's go, come over here. I'm ready. Let's go for round 3. Like, no, we're not just going to pretend like that whole situation didn't happen at the restaurant and you just tried to threaten me and we almost got into it again. Like, no. So I believe we had a dance instructor, and, Bravo completely missed the ball on hiring the perfect person for this scene. You know who they should have had teaching them the choreography? They should have had Miss Making the Band herself, Lorianne Gibson. Can you imagine her teaching everybody here the choreography? She probably would have got into it with Brooks. She probably would have told Brooks, I'm not sure what you're doing. You're two-stepping. I'm not sure what that is. So you go sit down. Brooks, she probably would not have wanted Lorianne to talk to her like that. And I could see them bumping heads. She probably would have told Strawberry, what are you doing? No, you go sit down too. Like, go sit down until you know how to dance better. Like Lorianne, she would have chewed this entire cast up, because all of them needed some oil in their steps. I don't know what they were doing. They were trying to dance and everything. I mean, Lisa, she had the wine perfectly a little bit. I mean, she got down to the floor. Ayan, she came in dressed in yet another outfit. That was so unnecessarily to dance. I mean, she had on high-heeled boots with this tulle dress and a yellow wig. I'm not sure what she was doing. She was just like, I'm like, what is going on? And then she described herself perfectly. She was like, when I'm on stage, I like to pretend like I'm Beyonce and Rihanna's child, or Rihanna's baby, or something like that. But I'm like, yeah, I could definitely see that. But obviously on the dance floor, that's not your forte. But for the most part, it was nice to see everybody getting along and everybody doing all the dance moves, even if they were struggling. I enjoyed Strawberry, seeing her trying to, get down with the get down. I'm like, okay, you're not doing good yourself, but you're doing, good enough. Everybody else, for the most part, they all did well. They broke off into teams, and then we saw Brooks and Sarah. They were kind of interacting with each other, and I'm like, okay, at least both of you could be cordial. And they were doing their dance moves. Again, the whole scene was just really, really fun to see. And, again, Dubai, I'm telling you, if they come back for season 2 and so on, I feel like they are really, really, really going to be a good cast, because look at their group scenes. When they have group scenes, it's just like everybody is just there. It's not like we only have like 2 people in one scene. I feel like everybody is present, and I like when they have group scenes. So I hope that they do a cast trip at some point this season. I'm not sure if we're close to the finale or maybe next season. If they do a cast trip, I hope that all of them are together for a good period of time. And I'm surprised we didn't get to see Sergio in this scene either. I'm like, is he here? He was probably at home before Strawberry left, and he was probably like, wait, I want to learn how to dance too. Can I come? And Strawberry was just like, no, this is all just the wives. So eventually, the dance class ends. Everybody goes home except Brooks. Brooks calls Sarah over. She's like, can you come over for a second? Can you come over? And if I was Sarah, I would have been like, hold on, let me take off my hat. Like, I don't know what you're about to do. They sit down. Brooks, she starts off, and she's like, I just want to apologize for everything that happened. I just want to drop it, I just want to put everything in the past, and, I know that you're a good friend. And I'm like, oh, save the bullshit, Brooks. Like, now, all of a sudden, you want to have a heart? You can't just tell me to shut the fuck up 1 second and tell me that I'm not a real doctor and that I'm not a real professional at this, and throw that all in my face. And, try to and do it twice already, because this is my second altercation with you. And then all of a sudden, now you want me to forgive you? Like, absolutely not. But, Sarah, she's understanding. She's all about peace and good vibes and everything. So she was like, you know what? I'm going to try to be there for Brooks and be there for her in her time of need, because that's what she needs. And she told her, she's like, if you ever need a leg, an arm, a finger, an eyeball, a tongue, a nose, or anything, I'm always there for you. And Brooks is just like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, that was that. I mean, at least they were both, big enough to kind of let this go. And I don't think it'll be brought up again, maybe. But who knows? Sarah, let this be a life lesson. If you ever go over to her house again, do not even say anything about, oh, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. Just don't say anything at all, because obviously Brooks can't handle any type of criticism. We finally get to Lisa's Jamaican dance hall party, and we get Nina first. She shows up looking like a Spice Girl, but she looks cute. I almost didn't recognize her, because for some reason, I don't know whose bright idea was it to get this red neon light to cover up the entire scene. I'm like, I could barely see anybody or their outfits or who's who in this scene. So she she shows up, I'm thinking she's saying hi to Ayan at first, right? But I'm looking closer and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not Ayan. That is Sarah with an afro on, with this Jamaican dress on. I'm like, Sarah. When I first saw it, I really cringed. I was like, that is not Sarah. But like, please tell me it's Ayan. Please tell me it's somebody else. But no, it's Sarah. And I mean, I don't know. The whole outfit, the afro is just like Sarah, I don't know. And then Lisa in her confessional, she went on to say, before anybody says anything, Sarah didn't do anything wrong. She's allowed to wear an afro. I wear blonde wigs, so please nobody come for her. And that was that. And, again, what does everybody else think about this? I mean, do y'all think that it's cultural appropriation? She went on to say in an interview online that she did, she went on to say, well, a lot of people in Dubai, over there in Dubai, so many people have afros. And over there it's typical. It's normal. It's nothing like to look at like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. So when she did it, she didn't think anything of it. So I don't know. I mean, maybe to me personally, maybe it came as a shock because I don't see people in Dubai, or I don't see people from Dubai wearing afros, or at least not that I have any recollection of it. But I don't know. It's just the whole thing about it. Just, I don't know. And then on top of that, Lisa's father-in-law, he was also there wearing a Jamaican hat with a bunch of dreads, like fake dreads. Like it was a wig, sort of like a wig hat hanging out from it. And I'm like, again, the whole thing was just a little, just like wishy-washy. So everybody else, they all started coming into the scene one by one. Again, I could barely see their outfits, but I believe Brooks, she looked the best out of all of them. I mean, if it wasn't for the red neon light, we could see her red hair a little bit better, but she looks so good. I mean, she may have a temper tantrum, but she looks so beautiful. So Strawberry also looked nice. I'm not sure if she was drunk or not, because as she kept moving, her wig that she had on, it just kept bobbing all over the place. She was all over the place. Ayan, she had on these two giant ruffles on her arms and an afro. She also looked nice, but her dance moves said otherwise, because as soon as they broke out into the dance routine, it kind of reminded me of that scene in White Chicks when both groups at the nightclub, when they both faced off against each other. That's the kind of vibe it gave me. They were dancing, and I just wish that Bravo would have paid for the rights of whatever song was playing in the background, because it seemed like they were all kind of in sync with it, sort of. I mean, they were all having a good time. I enjoyed the whole dance routine, regardless of if they knew how to dance or not. I'm talking to you, Ayan, because Ayan, she was just like, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? Brooks was ready to find a husband that night. She was rotating her hips down to the floor so perfectly. I'm like, damn, is Zoran here? And then, did y'all see me and Lisa's husband? He was in the background. I'm like, oh, look at him. Hey, baby. How are you? Hey, Sarah, how are you too? How are you? You look so handsome. He was also there too in the background. I'm like, oh, look at Rich. I would have loved to see Rich or even Sarah if both of them were just, they decided to, wind down a little bit and, shake their hips just to... Anyways, but back to the scene. So they were all having fun, right? They were all having a good time and, dancing and all this and all that. Dancing, right? Including Strawberry. I'm glad that for once she wasn't complaining or, bitching or anything. Strawberry, you are fun when you actually just, put everything aside and just kind of just throw yourself in the scene with the group. Everybody was having a good time. Nina was having a good time. Sarah was having a good time. And then Lisa, she wanted to give out little tiaras for everybody at the end. I believe some of the awards were, people that shouldn't dance. So that was like an award. It went to Strawberry. As it should. Ayan, she got the participant award. Like, okay, you did good enough, and that was that. Brooks, she got the best dancer award, which is rightfully so because she had the best rhythm. And I believe that was it. And I think Lisa had, no, Sarah, ironically, she had the best dress award. I'm like, okay. So Lisa, she also got an award for, I forgot what she got. She got an award for whatever, right? And that was that. And then they all came up together in a group hug, and that was that. And again, the whole scene was really, really nice. I really enjoyed this dance scene and the dance scene back at the studio, because it goes to show you that, yeah, they could have issues and they could, throw down and everything, and they could get into arguments. But at the end of the day, I need to stop saying that. At the end of the day, they could still have fun and put everything aside and look, still make a nice scene together. So that was that. Let me know what y'all thought about this entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.